Today I'm going to show you how to fill in your wood. See how this looks rough along the edge? And then here this looks nice and smooth. And nice and smooth here. And then again it gets rough around the edge up here. So you saw how it smooths out and it looks smoother and rougher in some places. Now, like right here, we're going to work on this too today. All of this is very, very rough. And especially like right in here, you can see it. Just, it's kind of like really, like, you can see that chip in there and everything. I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm also going to show you how to take this piece of wood here, which is very, very nasty looking. Not sure if you can see that, but we're going to sand that, and then we are going to fill that in too, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing. Zoom in a little bit there for you. Okay, so we're going to use some sandpaper, and we're going to finish sanding this piece. Make sure you get all the splinters out so you don't get like any huge splinters going in your finger when you're rubbing it across. Okay, so I got a lot of that out, but when I paint this, you're going to see all of this detail. And see how that just all kind of like popped back out when I knocked the sand out of there? Okay, so it's got a lot of holes in there. And you want to be careful because like I just gave myself a splinter. You're going to take the Carpenter's Color Change wood filler. Now this dries white when it's ready, and then you can paint it and stain it. Okay. Alright. So we're going to take our finger very lightly and carefully so you don't get any splinters if there's any leftover pieces of wood. And you are going to just fill in all of those little holes. Okay, just like that. And you're going to go across the entire thing. Make sure you get the whole piece of wood covered along that edge. That's going to make a huge, huge difference in your finished product. Remember, it goes on pink, so that's not anything unusual with this brand. Okay. Now, we're going to let this dry, and we're going to continue on the house so that we can give this a second coat if it needs it. You want to sand in between the coats, and you want to sand it with a very fine sandpaper grit in between. Okay, so we have that on there like that. We're going to let that dry, and then we'll be back with that piece. Okay, in the meantime, let's go ahead and look at this porch area here. Let's zoom in right here on this little crack. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I just want to show you what this stuff can do. It's pretty resilient. I mean, I love this stuff. Okay, and you can see it really well on the white because the white shows it up. Now, a lot of this didn't show up as much until we started painting it, and then when we put that gloss paint on there, it really, really stood out. Now, if you're going for a rustic look, you might not want to put anything on your house. You know, just keep it rustic. But if you're going for that nice, like, clean look, you definitely want to fill in all these holes. I mean, this is the bad part about buying a kit, because they're all just punched out and the wood is made so cheap So you got to fix it, or you got to build one from scratch with your own kind of wood. Okay, so you just want to continue rubbing that in, just working it in that little hole or holes with your fingers, just like that. It's that easy. I mean, if you can see right there where that dark pink is, that's where that hole was, and now it's not there anymore. Okay, I'm going to finish this whole porch, and then we'll come back to that. Alright, so I'm just finishing up the last of this, just continuously rubbing it in. Just like that. Wipe off the excess off your fingers. And now I'm just taking a rag and getting it off of the top where I kind of went over it a little bit. And then I'm going to take my finger and rub it across there one more time very lightly. You don't want to keep doing it because then you'll rub away what you put there. But you do want to get like the big chunks of it off. Alright, now that's going to go ahead and dry, and this little board here actually looks like it is dry. Okay, and I haven't even sanded that yet, but look at the difference. Like here is the edges from before. Okay, now we're going to just take this sandpaper. Now we're not using the thicker grit, we're going to use the finer grit, if you can see the difference. And we're just going to lightly go over that. Move it out so you can see a little better. Okay. Alright, now there's no big gaping holes in that, and it's nice and smooth. Now if you want to go over it one more time you can, but since I'm not using this board for anything, it was just something I wanted to use to show you, I'm not going to go over it again because it would just be a waste for me. But again, here's just like the top half. Compared to the bottom half. And I wish you could feel that, because feeling it just makes a huge difference. This is all like rough, and this is so smooth and silky. Okay. Alright, so here's the front of the porch. We're going to lightly sand that off of there, just very lightly. And it's nice and smooth. Okay, I'm going to take a rag and wipe off the excess sandpaper or sawdust. And then you can take your paintbrush that you're painting with, and then you can lightly go back over it. Just to cover up where you just painted. Just like that. Right, and when you paint it with a gloss, you might see some more spots that needs to be gone over again, and you can just redo it once it dries. Then you're going to do the same thing to the tower, and then the rest of the areas on your house. You just want to fill in all those little cracks. with the wood filler, just like this. And then when you do, it just becomes so much smoother and it looks so much nicer. So then you just wait till that dries and then sand it and paint it again, and that's it. Thanks a lot for following Dollhouse Miniature Madness and tutorials on Facebook, and we'll see you for more DIYs.